blades cut through the dark. Here come the ninja sharks. Ninja sharks attacking the night. Quick as lightning out of sight. Fighting evil in the waves. Ninja sharks so brave.
It's the official theme song. It can only mean one thing. Joining us once again from the land of ninja sharks, it's Ed to talk about Zine Quest and the Era prototype game. Happy Thursday, Ed. How are you?
I'm great, and I didn't realize that you meant that was going to be my permanent theme song. I'm going to look forward to coming on even more now. Because I'll be like, I get to come on and listen to the song. Hello, everyone. Thank you, obviously, to the OGGM for having me back.
Oh, anytime.
I am always pleased to be here.
My only.
Oh, sorry.
I think, what is Zine Quest? Explain that to people.
Right.
First, and then we can talk about the new thing.
You know what? I'm going to start with our first Zine Quest here at Shades of Vengeance, which was the first Zine Quest. So, Kickstarter likes to run what they call creative prompts. They go, we want to see projects about this thing. And one of the first ones they did was, in fact, make 100. So you had to make 100 of something. And that was what Shark Ninja was actually part of. It was actually part of the Make 100 project. As indeed was my New Year, New Stories comic, which it has been for some years. Another one they did, usually in February, and they do it most years, usually in February, is they do this Zine Quest thing. Now, this is specifically for tabletop role-playing games, and it's supposed to be zines that give you something to do with a role-playing game. And when I started, you might be able to see up here, no, probably not, but that's fine, I'll pull them all down. There we go. When I started, our first year we funded and produced 4 zines in 2019. That was, what they all had was something for every era game. Every single one of them had something for each era game. It might be a little bit of fiction. It might be some. For Era the Empowered, I gave some new power trees for you to choose from. For Era Hitman, I sort of added in like optional targets that you can go after, and so on and so on and so on. And it was a lot of fun. But in 2022, right. In 2022, they moved it to be in August, which really screwed me up a bit. You'll see here, this is October 2022, and you might actually be able to read that that's the Era Dragon Song prototype. So rather than doing something for every game, my game library was getting a bit too extensive by then. And I felt like it was sort of, I'd have to spend 1 page on every game, and it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do a lot of content in 1 page. I've been used to doing campaigns for Era the Consortium Warriors Survival. So, it was a lot of content, good content. But I thought, no, you know what? What I can do is there are definitely games that I've got ideas for that I've not got around to publishing, and people might enjoy like a prototype for them. So I thought, okay, and I did 3 games in 2022/2023. I did Era Dragon Song. I did Era Bloodlines, which I believe I sent you to have a quick look at, just so you'd have an idea of what a prototype looks like. And I did Era Friction. Now, if you're a long-time listener of my conversations with our host here, you'll be aware that Era Dragon Song and Era Friction have in fact been published since they were done. So I did those prototypes. I sent them out into the world, and people loved them. And I thought, you know what? Okay, fine. I'll publish them. I'll get it done. I'll get it sorted. Era Bloodlines was a special request from one of the backers. As with this year, I made a tier where I will make a prototype of whatever game you would like to see. And that's what Era Bloodlines was. It was a prototype of an urban fantasy game, sort of Buffy, grim, supernatural, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, it's got its own set of sort of special rules for the game. It's got what I would liken to a World of Warcraft talent tree system, leveling up or improving your specialties, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, you put 1 point in and you have 2% chance of this. You put another point in, you have 5% chance, and so on, you know,
increase
like,
that, or
like the World of Warcraft thing.
Yeah. The
That's how World of Warcraft used to work when I used to play it. Anyway, I'm not certain that it does anymore. I don't know. I haven't actually logged into that game in a few years now. So I thought, you know, when Zine Quest came around again this year, I thought, okay, you know what? Doing it in August in 2022 really screwed me up. I would have happily done it in February in 2023, and then like it all went wrong, and you know, it took me a long time to get that stuff out the door. And I thought, no, you know what? I can do better than that. I can do Era Zone issues that people can enjoy. And I decided that what I would do is start with Era Soul Mist, which I believe I've spoken to you about briefly in the past.
Yes.
So we are funded, so everyone who backs will be getting Era Soul Mist in prototype form. That is going to mean that you have the brand new rules that I've made for Era Soul Mist regarding combat. You're going to have my prototype form of those. You are going to have all of the stats and some weapons, some armor to choose from, some spells, and so on. Everything you need to play the game. Now, it might not be everything that ends up obviously in a 300-page rulebook of sort of double the size, you know, sort of that size instead of that size. But you will have everything that you need to try out the game, play it, find out whether you like it, find out whether you like the ideas that I've come up with and included in Era Soul Mist to try and make it feel more Dark Soulsy. We've also, if you scroll down very, very slightly, we've unlocked 2 custom prototypes just above Era Cooltide there. So 2 backers have pledged at the level for a custom prototype, which means I am going to be producing whatever it is they want. Now, one of these is a longtime friend of mine who's chosen to see something that he's quite interested in bring to life. Now, I have no idea what it's going to be. He has not entirely decided. But among the ideas he's bounced off me is a Power Rangers inspired game.
Wow.
Right?
My soulmate.
And a Pokemon inspired game, like a Monster Catcher.
Ooh, there's so many of those, but yes.
Yes. Many options. Nothing for that in either of those things in Era D10 yet. So I'm excited to look at either one of those. We'll have to see what he chooses. And the other one is a complete unknown. I have no idea what he's going to ask me for, which is exciting. A bit like the Shank Ninja project, where I had no idea what people were actually going to do when I went into the workshop. I'm quite looking forward to what it is that this other gentleman has in mind.
Cool.
So I'm excited. And then, of course, we've got some more stretch goals. We've got Era Cruel Tide. I came up with that game around Christmas. I thought it would be hilarious. And the idea is that the jack-o'-lanterns are scared that Christmas is starting earlier each year, so Halloween is going to get swallowed up by Christmas.
I think it would be the other way around here in the States. Halloween starts earlier every year.
Oh, Halloween definitely starts earlier every year, but you know, it's like, yeah, the Christmas decorations also seem to be going up earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
So the jack-o'-lanterns team up with various people, including the Easter Bunny and the Snowmen, in order to kidnap Santa and you know, try and cancel Christmas.
Okay.
And you play as, I mean, you can be a human or you can be like a magical creature imbued with Christmas magic by Mrs. Claus in order to go and defeat the jack-o'-lanterns and rescue Santa.
So it's more of like an adventure than a game setting.
Oh, no. It's got its own mechanics. It is its own game.
Okay.
There's no reason why, why there couldn't be stuff that happens the rest of the time. It's just like the core thing is Santa is missing. You could definitely have an adventure where you're trying to do Christmas on your own because Santa is missing, or there are loads of different things you could do with this concept. Santa's missing, but it's the summer, so it doesn't matter. There are lots of things you could do. So and basically every Christmas pun I could come up with is in this game as an ability.
Yes. Cool.
From the way the cookie crumbles to snow problem.
Elf on a shelf.
The back cover has an elf on the shelf sitting next to the jack-o'-lanterns, because elf on the shelf is definitely evil.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's no question in my mind that an elf on the shelf is just
no,
evil.
no, definitely. If you look up, the whole lore behind Elf on the Shelf.
Exactly, yeah.
Evil.
So they're evil. They're like, they're teamed up with the jack-o'-lanterns, and so is the Easter Bunny. That one stung more than most. Santa and his allies would have assumed that the Easter Bunny would be on Santa's side, but no.
Probably the Thanksgiving is probably not on Santa's side either.
No, probably not. No, I imagine
completely forgotten holiday that happens after Halloween, but
before Christmas. Yeah. I didn't cover it specifically in the book because obviously I'm English and we don't do that.
Yeah.
But there is definitely plenty of scope. I mean, I included a few examples, like obviously Halloween's involved. There are leprechauns for St. Patrick's Day. I've already been told off by a bunch of Irish people, but it's fine. Yeah.
All the forgotten holidays, getting in on them.
Yeah, so yeah, just there's even the Lunar New Year dragon, which is it's just fun. It's just Cruel Tide. I would have published it if I hadn't come up with it in like early December. I would have published it in time for Christmas, but I thought, I can't really do that, can I? So I thought what I'd do is basically offer it here earlier in the year, and then maybe publish it properly later in the year if I feel like it.
Great.
We've got Era Kumite, which also has the chance of being unlocked. I'm a fan of 90s action movies, and that means I like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. In this case, this is a reference to Bloodsport and The Quest.
Yes. Oh, I actually saw The Quest. I might be one of the 5 people.
I've seen The Quest something like 10 times.
Wow.
I watch 90s action movies. It's what I do to relax. or movies that are pretending to be 90s action movies, like Arnie's more recent one from like 2016 or something called The Last Stand.
Yes.
Which pretends to be a 90s action movie, even if it's not. So in Era Kumite, you one person plays as the martial arts champion, one person plays as his trainer, one person plays as the guy who has the gift of the gab and makes sure that they don't get kicked out, and no matter what they do, and one person sort of is the character who goes around making sure that the guy with the blow dart who's gonna tranquilize your guy, make sure he doesn't get to do the thing, and so on and so on and so on. You've got plenty of scope in there for some really fun ideas for characters
for fighting tournament. Yeah.
And you obviously play as one team, and there are a variety of other teams.
Cool.
So yeah, it was just a cool.
So the more stretch goals, the more unlocked.
Prototypes we unlock. Exactly. Yeah.
So it's backers are getting more stuff.
Yeah.
And new backers are getting access to more newer stuff. Yeah. So cool. That's
absolutely. And if you pay for the physical, you get all of them in physical. If you pay for the digital, you get all of them in digital. As you've got highlighted on the screen there on the right-hand side, we are offering the previous 3 prototypes. I know not everyone is made of money, and you might rather just have the 3 previous prototypes so you can try Dragon Song, Bloodlines, and Friction. They're also available in physical format. I've got them available there as well. So loads and loads of options for you. Whatever it is that you want, you can have just the new ones. You can have the older ones as well. Loads of choices.
Great. And these are all going to be separate, individual, depending on how many they get.
Yeah.
And each one's about what?
Own book. And you use the Era D10 Fundamentals booklet, which is free online.
Yes, I have it. Yes.
Or if someone buys a physical, I'll send one with it because I've got a whole box of them. This was
each one's about
sorry.
Each one's about what, 10, 20 pages?
The fundamentals itself is 24 pages. The prototypes vary. This one here is only 12, Era Friction, whereas Era Bloodlines is a much thicker book and comes to 24.
Okay, so yeah, very, very old school for people who don't know, who didn't grow up in the 80s and don't know about zine culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very punk rock, independent, I've got access to a photocopier kind of thing. Do you think it's easier making these little mini zine games for you? Or is it
it's cheaper on my end because, quite honestly, I don't have to pay lots of money for artwork. But it's probably not easier. I work just as hard on a prototype. For the Era Bloodlines prototype, I've seen all of Buffy and Angel and whatnot. I've seen Supernatural before. I'd never seen Grimm, so I actually sat down and watched all 4 seasons of Grimm so that I could make sure that I was properly, representing the ideas that are in that series for that person.
For somebody who wanted to recreate that universe.
Yeah, and if someone asked me to do a Monster Catcher, for example, I'm going to have to go check out some of the Monster Catcher series I've never seen, like Digimon or I've seen Pokemon plenty, and I grew up with Pokemon, but
there's a lot of Pokemon series.
There are a lot of Pokemon series.
And a lot of Digimon series.
I'm sure that's true. And, there are various others which are sort of similar in a sense, like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Monster Rancher.
There's a lot to look at and make sure that...
Neopets.
There's a lot to look at and make sure that I get the feel right. So, I'm going to be doing a lot of research, no matter what it is that I'm asked to look into.
Cool. So would this later be like an anthology later on, or is this a one and done? Like, do you ever see these?
Do print an anthology copy of the year's things. This is my 2023 collection, which contains Friction and Bloodlines and Dragon Song.
Cool. 3 down below.
So I often do that. I may or I may not. It really depends if I feel like people will be getting more out of it as a result.
Yeah, it definitely, I think, would be. What is the audience? I mean, you've already made the best role-playing game ever with Ninja Sharks. Everything else is just, icing on the cake, I think, and the fact your son loves the song, that's just like, aw.
My son does indeed adore the Ninja Shark song. He will dance to it like a maniac. I always think of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And when you go to the Goron place and the really serious Goron leader's standing there, and then you play Soria's song, and he's like... That's what my son's like when he hears the Ninja Shark song.
Awesome. I'll have to send him like an autographed copy. Which one of these are you most excited to see grow up? Of the 3, which one are you like, I really want that one to go, and become the next Friction or whatever?
Obviously, I can't, based on the context of the question, I can't say Soul Mist, which I obviously put it first because I was most interested. I think I'm going to have to say Biopunk, which is the bottom one there. Because this is one that I'm not doing alone. I've been working for some time, actually since COVID, with my good friend Leo. Leo's really primarily an audio guy, but he learned to run tabletop role-playing games using the Era D10 rule set.
Ooh,
and during COVID, he said, Ed, I have nothing to do with my time. I'm on furlough. I would really like to learn how you make games. And obviously it's taken a lot of years. You know, we ended lockdown and, you know, all the rest of it. But era biopunk is a really fun idea. It's kind of a sci-fi Cold War where you control the bodies of normal citizens on the other side of the line.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to cause an all-out war, or indeed let it be proven that you caused this. But you do want to mess up your enemy. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that there's a lot of political intrigue and complication here, because one half owns like the water on the planet, because it's all in the polar ice caps and they own that territory, and the other half owns basically all of the minerals on the planet that you can access, because it's really hard to. So they, despite being on two different sides, the Valayans and the Aquarians trade and work together-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, yeah, well, we're going to blame this on the Aquarians, because let's be Valayans as an example. We're going to blame this on the Aquarians and make it look like they attacked this neutral dome. Because they all live in biodomes. You can probably tell that from the image. So, and then you've got bioengineered people who are basically your weapons, as it were. There aren't that many weapons around. They bioengineer instead. And you play as a character called a pillar who uses a device to control these bioengineered bodies.
Okay, yeah.
They're sort of grown to... there are a number of specifications. I think there are 12 different kinds of, as we call them, subsidiary life forms. And the pillars are, in theory, the only intelligent life. But subsids are grown with brain capacity and then just imprinted with a personality, like a default personality. But over time, that personality will grow. It's kind of like, I would liken it to Terminator 2. In the director's cut version, there's that whole scene about he's got the chip and the learning is turned off and all that stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like a default model. And what I think this is like that's how they're born, as the default model, but they're able to learn because they're bioengineered and they're biological life forms.
Yeah, like the replicants from Blade Runner, or
all
the other movies that have, and TV shows that have explored the downloadable sims, and then that downloaded pre-programmed personality of I lift heavy boxes.
Yes,
slowly become.
But gradually, I learn that personality can expand and it changes. Yeah. So, there's a lot of scope for some really fun stories in there.
Yeah,
and I really can't put it under like the fourth stretch goal, because I think it's further away from being done than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got a long way to go still to be a finished game, but. Yeah. It's a lot of fun and it's a really good idea. And it'll be the first time, if it goes ahead, it'll be the first time that I'm publishing a game that I did not entirely create.
Yeah. And there's so much philosophical mumbo jumbo messing around with the whole downloadable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
there's so much stuff you can do with that.
Yeah. I'm technically immortal because I can just keep downloading into a new sleeve.
Oh yeah, I pointed that out to Leo that is definitely what someone would do.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh."
But just watch Alter Sleeves on Netflix. Yeah, that's the whole premise. Or Black Mirror. Cool. So last time I saw you, I was like, "You're done. You're gonna take a break, right?" But nope, you made this. Are you done? Are you gonna take a break?
No, I'm not gonna take a break.
Because you got a 4-year-old.
I'm gonna take a break from role-playing games for a bit.
Uh-huh.
There is a card game that I created in 2019.
Oh God.
That I've never published.
Oh boy.
So that's going to be my next games project on Kickstarter, because I think it deserves to be. I think it deserves to see the light of day. It's actually a lot of fun. And although I kind of designed it with like 6-year-olds in mind for when my son was going to grow up and be ready, I've actually played it with full-on adults and they found it entertaining for half an hour.
Cool.
You know, it's a very simple idea. You're a space cadet, because I'm a sci-fi guy and I can't help myself. So you're a space cadet, an alien space cadet, I should say. And in fact, I've got some cards here if you're interested in a little bit of a demo. I've actually got a deck here that I printed in 2019.
Can I make you bigger?
It's just embarrassing that I haven't got any further. So there are 4 different characters, and we're going to look at Allegra quickly. This is Allegra, and you'll notice that she has 2 heads. That's because as you take damage, you rotate the head, and then you turn over the card and rotate it again. And then once that's gone, you're dead, right? So you are basically a head. It's a good way to get ahead in life.
Okay.
I'm funny.
Those are the jokes, folks. Don't forget to pay the waitress on the way out.
Yeah, indeed. So basically, you get dealt a hand of body parts. Here is air control, atmosphere control, air control arms. So if you've got an atmospheric problem like an acid atmosphere or a hurricane or a sandstorm, you can control air, so you can make that not a problem. I'll come back to why that's important in a moment. And here's a set of legs as an example. These are repair nanites. So again, they work on acidic atmosphere. So if you're eaten away, your repair nanites fix you. You've got radiation and sandstorm. So you'll have your character, and then suddenly you will draw. Well, everyone has a character, and you draw a card, and that is a environmental problem that you have to overcome. You have to adapt to survive. The game's called Adapt. So this is Inferno. So if I had those 2 I just showed you, sorry, it's a bit hard to hold them up. You will notice, if I can hold this properly, that it kind of makes a body.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I have nothing that defends me from an Inferno. So hopefully, in my hand, I have something like, I happen to have had that on top, the thermal insulation arms. So if I switch out my arms and throw my air control and stick on my thermal insulation arms, then I am defended.
Okay.
So I'm okay because I am thermally insulated. I can't get hurt. However, if I can't do that, if I don't have a card that'll save me from Inferno, I take a damage.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then you just every turn, everyone gets 1 extra arm or leg card, and then you flick through the various things that can happen to you. So flood, lightning, high gravity, upside down, high gravity, lava, freezing, acidic atmosphere, radiation, hurricane, that sort of thing.
Okay, so
all these things that can happen to you, you just have to stay alive the longest.
Okay.
Right? So it's a very, very simple game in concept. It's not hard at all. But it's a lot of fun. People have enjoyed it enough that I feel a bit embarrassed about not having got very far in terms of publishing it yet.
Well, you're a busy man.
Indeed, but I feel like I need to get this out the door now. So that's going to be my next game Kickstarter because it's a lot of fun and having it out in the world. It's called Adapt. Oh, and I don't have the logo on this version. This is a very old version. I've got a new proper logo for it now, but it's
nice.
It's called Adapt.
Cool. Always room for another cool party card game.
Yeah, it's just it'll keep you occupied for half an hour. It's a bit of fun and like you say, bit of a cool party card game just for people to mess around with, have fun, and not take too seriously.
Yeah, that's what it should be. All right. So the product today is Era Zone prototype. Era Zone is part of the Kickstarter Zine Quest. You guys hear me say the word Zine Quest a lot, and some of you might not know what it is. So thanks to Ed for explaining what Zine Quest is, where we just, a bunch of creators get together and make zines, relive the classic punk rock zine movement of the 80s, where, you had access to Kinkos, you typed something up, you printed it out, and I think zines are coming back, and I think zines are going to come back big because they're easy to make, and They're a great way to get your game idea out there without having to compete with Big Daddy Wizards of the Coast. So yeah, I'm excited to have the zine movement reborn, since I am a kid of the 80s.
I mean, I do like to sort of this sort of thing, especially. I mean, so few things on Kickstarter are tabletop role-playing game focused, and the thing is that there isn't even a role-playing game section.
Yeah,
it's just tabletop games.
Yeah, tabletop games.
So to have an event that is specifically for tabletop role-playing games is brilliant.
Yes.
Right, I love that. So I like to support it when I can.
So do I. Yes. Big fan of the movement. Obviously, as a fellow independent, small-time game press creator. Someday Ed's going to have me on an interview about my games.
Hey, if you need someone to interview you about your games, I will come and do it on your channel for you.
Thanks.
You let me know, and we'll hook up a time, and I will come and interview about your games when you're ready.
Thanks, Ed. I'll send you a copy. All right. Thank you, Ed, once again, for taking time out of your busy schedule over there across the pond to hang out with us.
Thank you for having me. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Please do check out ZineQuest. It's not expensive to get involved.
It sounds fun. It's not expensive. It's a great way to get your hands on a baby prototype of what could be the next big role-playing game.
You never know.
Should Soul Mist become the next big thing, you can be like, oh, I was there in day one, man. I remember Soul Mist was just a little baby. Now it's the huge. So,
and you'll get 3 Era Zone issues.
Yes,
if you back for $10 or just under $10, I think.
So there you go. How awesome is that? Be part of the mega large Era multiverse of comics and books and games and music, and I don't know what else does. Sandwiches, I guess. All right. Thank you, Ed, very much for taking time. My best to you.
You're right. My wife does amazing sandwiches.
There does need to be some sandwiches. And obviously, shout out to my #1 fan, Ed's kid, who loves the Ninja Shark song. So, I mean, I think I've fulfilled my life goal of getting a kid to like one of my songs. All right, everybody. Thanks. Take care. If you're here in America, you're dealing with weird weather. So stay safe out there, and we'll talk to y'all later. And other things that we say at the end of things. I don't know. The brain's not working today.
Under ocean deep they hide, silent shadows in the tide. Fins like blades cut through the dark. Here come the ninja sharks. Ninja sharks.